Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tric Trac TV. My name is Jamie, and today I'm joined by the guys from Serious Pulp, Bruno and Ludovic. How are we doing?
Fine, thanks.
It's been quite a long day, hasn't it? Because we've been filming plenty of stuff on your new
actually.
game. Yes, it is quite warm as well.
It's August in France.
For definite. So we've been talking a lot about the seventh continent today. But the chat video is, well, it's more to talk about you guys, because there's a game. We've talked a lot about it, but we haven't talked much about Serious Pulp and where you guys came from, and you've got a bit of a story to tell. So, I mean, how did Serious Pulp come about? Because this isn't your first game, is it? No,
it's actually our third game. Mm-hmm. So we met a few years back. We weren't friends by the time we met, and actually we didn't like very much each other. And we start playing Dark Age. I think it's Dark Age, the card game, yeah.
Okay, the card game. Right.
So we start playing, and then we discovered we were the best friends in the world. Because we spent an entire week playing the game together.
The power of card gaming.
We lost all other friends, but we stayed together. So that was almost 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then we had the first business together, a digital communication agency. And a few years ago, because we've been playing games, and we love games since as long as you can remember. Yeah. And all kind of games, because I started playing with game books, and my father on the Apple IIc, so I played games on the old computer. And Ludovic has also a past of player. So we decided to try publishing our own games. And this is our third game, and we publish the games we design. So we are both game designers of our own games, and Ludovic also is the guy who draws everything.
The graphic designer.
Yeah, he's a graphic designer.
Oh, and the artist. Men of many talents.
Yes. For all the games we have published, so Steam Torpedo 4 years ago, it's a submarine battle game for 2 players. 8 Masters Revenge, Tchat is about it. That was published 2.5 years ago, and the last 2 years, we've been working on the seventh continent, coming on Kickstarter in September at last.
This isn't the game, this is just a postcard. But
so that's it. Serious Pulp is a French independent publisher.
Okay.
And we do everything by ourselves. Well, most of it actually. We don't manufacture the game, but
of course not. Well, that would maybe be too much.
It would take too much time.
So how did you guys get into gaming? When you were quite young, I assume?
Yes. We've been playing most of our lives. I've been playing role-playing games, and Ludovic did as well. I don't know if you remember the first...
Oui, j'étais très jeune, hein. Effectivement, on a commencé très tôt. Ouais.
So you started very young. Yes. C'était quoi le premier jeu alors?
Le premier jeu. Le premier
jeu
de rôle. C'était les jeux en encart de jeux et stratégie, je crois, moi. Les jeux en encart de jeux et stratégie. C'était un magazine qui sortait des jeux en encart, des jeux en plateau que tu découpais et que tu faisais toi-même.
Okay, so the first game he ever played was these, you used to get them back in magazines, like way back in the day, where you could cut them out of the actual magazine, and they were like little mini strategy games. You just bought them in a magazine and played them, which is quite good. And yourself, do you remember?
I think one of my first game was Full Metal Planet.
Oh, there's some pedigree for you.
And Blood Bowl, which I obviously love.
Classic.
The casque sanglant in the French red box with Zone Mortelle, the expansion. With my cousins, I cheat on the rules to win.
Well, it's Blood Bowl, so you're allowed to cheat.
I used to hire the referee. That was a huge Viking. His figure was like king size compared to the others. He used to walk on players when they did something wrong. So it was very fun.
Oh man! And so when did you guys start designing games? Did you just one day get the idea to make games, or have you been messing around for it? Tu as commencé quand à avoir des idées pour des jeux? C'était tout de suite? C'était quand tu as commencé à...
Moi j'ai commencé très tôt à designer des jeux.
So you started very early thinking of games. Like, what's early? C'est quoi?
Bon, 9-10 ans, j'ai dessiné.
9 to 10 years, wow, ok.
Moi, j'ai trouvé des vieux jeux que j'avais fait où j'avais dessiné les boîtes et tout. Bon, c'était pas terrible, mais.
So you started 9-10 years old thinking about games. Oh, fair enough then. And you had a few things drawn out. And,
Et ben justement, d'ailleurs, à propos du 7e continent, j'ai retrouvé il n'y a pas longtemps dans mes affaires un jeu qui reprend un peu les mêmes principes du 7e continent.
Okay, so you came up with a game at that age, which, well, from what he's saying, he dug out not very long ago, that actually there's a couple of ideas that got into the 7th continent by the sound of it. Okay, well, that's intriguing. So this is actually a game that hasn't taken 2.5 years to make.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
taken about... Oh, you brought it with you?
Ouais.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, okay.
So for those who saw the previous video, they might see some...
Oh, no, I can see the resemblance.
C'était avec des enveloppes en fait, c'était des
Oh,
enveloppes et tu mettais les,
It might get published one day.
Oh, and you put...
les cartes dans les enveloppes.
Oh, that's cool. Wow, that's clever. Oh, so you put them in there, and that was
Yes.
the event?
Yeah, that was the
Okay, so
random
you made
event
your-
from...
Oh, that's...
Et tu
Look at
explorais
that,
un archipel.
wow. And these are the ones you drew way back then? C'est ça que tu avais dessiné quand
Tout à
tu étais
fait,
jeune?
ouais, j'avais 10
Wow.
ans, 10-11 ans à peu près. Ouais.
Oh, there you go. This is the prototype of the seventh continent. That's actually really
And
clever.
it was
I like the idea of putting the cards inside it as
37
well.
years ago.
Wow, it's a 37-year-old
So it
prototype.
took
ladies and gentlemen.
it took him some time to get to the
And then you put each one of these in the envelope, and that was your random event, whether it be
items and stuff.
items, a jar of something, or a demon. There you go, with icons. So you're already working on the icons there. That's really
C'était une archipel à visiter. Ouais,
An entire. Ah, c'était la même idée de faire toute une île.
ouais bah, il y avait déjà, j'avais oublié
Same
ça,
idea.
mais effectivement il y avait ce côté.
The same idea to do an entire series of island by the looks of it. That's really clever. I like that. Very
So
clever.
2.5 years ago,
So yeah, how did we get from
we
that to this?
we just finished editing our previous game, and we learned about Kickstarter. And
Did everybody?
now at that time you couldn't publish projects on Kickstarter if you were French.
Yes,
So
that's true.
we wondered, well, we should do a game, the game of our dream, the game that is a mix of a board game, video game, role-playing game, and the Kickstarter, for the first time, it allowed us to take the risk to work 2.5 years with no money,
Yeah,
of
that's
course, at full time, because we wouldn't have to take the risks for the
Production and
yes.
everything else.
So we said we won't take the risk for production because it's a huge game with huge
that's
contents,
one way to
but
put
we
it.
are ready to do it for the game conception, design.
Of course.
So we started working on it. Ludovic had the genuine ideas, the things that...
Well, he had them pretty early.
yeah,
by the looks
early.
of it.
And actually, the main difference is he wanted to include some survival
Of course.
to
yes.
this exploration board game.
Yeah, you once told me you were quite a fan of Don't Starve.
Yes.
So,
Well, we practiced Don't Starve and Minecraft, and so the games, Sen games, Sen games.
yeah, the same sort of games.
So so it was quite logical to start this adventure, and we've been working these last 2 years to conceive the adventure, and design the mechanism which is inspired by the game books, but also all the mechanisms that allow you to play without rolling one dice. Because since it's at the beginning it was c'était conçu, c'était imaginé. It was imagined to be a solo game at first.
Right.
So and obviously when you play alone you can very easily cheat, especially if you roll dice.
I was going to turn that dice.
Yes, okay, it's a 6. Let's say it's a 6.
Well,
So
then again, back in the original.
we didn't want player to cheat, so we created a system in which they decide the level of risks they are willing to take. But of course, the less risk they take, the more sooner they will be dead on the seventh continent.
But then again, that fits in nicely with the survival aspect of it. I can
Yeah.
throw a load of cards at this and definitely get it right, or I can kind of hold on to them and just see what happens.
The first hour will be like, okay, it's a cool journey on the seventh continent, and then you'll start being much more and more scared, and the don't starve effect will
We
will
had that in
begin.
the last game today, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were just kind of like, oh, this is going all
And
right. Then a monster jumped out and more or less
quick.
ate two
One
of
big
us.
mistake, and
Yeah.
then
12 cards? Did we lose
Yes.
12 cards out of
you
30 or something?
should have drawn one more card. It would have been a success.
Yeah. Oh well, that's the game.
That's the game.
It's not a
That's-
game meant to
that's the
coddle you, is it?
principle.
It's definitely a challenge. But then again, I think that's what a lot of people like about this kind of game.
Absolutely.
So this is based off the old fighting fantasy books.
Yes. So
Ian
I
Livingstone and
brought
all
my
that
own.
classical
Just
stuff.
we
Yes,
used
you brought
to
some,
read those.
These
So
are
the titles are in
classics.
French, but they are
Absolute
classics.
classics. Yeah, the titles are in French.
So we owe Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson a huge.
They are just off.
Huge big up.
That is my childhood lined up in 3 books. That was, I believe, that was an image from what was the old card game? The car
Car
game,
Wars?
the game,
No?
yeah,
Battle
Car
Cars,
Wars.
or
There we
Battle
go.
Cars,
I'm
maybe,
pretty
yes.
sure that's from Car Wars. Then again, they were made by the games who worked for Games Workshop at the time.
So
you
when
know,
he was creating game, he was myself creating my
that's just it. You've got.
taking notes and saying don't go to number
you don't.
327.
Don't take the
So
pie.
they've been living in.
Wow, look at that. I mean, that's just
Last-
that's my
last-
childhood,
last,
man. Oh, there we go. Oh,
last
yes,
time
of
I
course.
didn't.
And now that's what I
erase.
like to see. I like to see character sheet pages where it's been rubbed out many times.
Because this one was
So-
especially difficult. So
What was that? It was the,
that's how
yeah,
it started for us.
Rendezvous with Death. Look at that.
So now it's a big Kickstarter adventure. It's our first Kickstarter campaign. So we've been preparing it as much.
As minutely as possible,
Yes.
I want to say.
And we hope it will go okay. One thing is sure, we have a lot of work to do, especially illustrations, before the game is published.
Of course.
There will be more than 1,000 cards before stretch goals in the game box.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
That's a lot of work.
Also, every card won't have any illustrations. There's a lot of illustrations to make. So the game is not until summer 2016. And if the game is not financed on Kickstarter, we just won't publish
Yeah,
it.
of course. No, there's no reason for you to go through with all
No,
of that.
if we can't have, let's say, 300 guys buying it on Kickstarter, then it means nobody wants to play it.
I also want to say that you've been working on this for 2.5 years now.
Yes,
you know,
but-
if you can't get the money to go through with it, you need to move on. I think that's
Sometimes it's better to lose the legs than lose the
yeah,
die
the whole,
from
yeah,
the.
yeah, exactly.
that's
Well, actually, that's one of the principles of the game, isn't it? You know, sometimes you want to fail so you don't have to invest as much. Not that we want this to, but I think that's quite an important thing to specify as well, because a lot of people going into Kickstarter think, I won't pledge now, I'll just wait until it comes out because you know it's going to be distributed. But the fact is, it's not.
No,
It's, you know,
because
for a lot
we
of people,
currently-
this is it.
We
It's
currently
do or die.
we don't have a distributor right now at the time that we speak. So if the game is not financed by you people, actually it won't exist.
No, for sure, that's understandable.
That's the way it works.
It's the point of Kickstarter. Well,
Should work.
I say a lot of people use it as a
Pre-selling.
pre-order. Yeah, it does happen. But for this one, it really is, well, you guys still need to finish, I don't know, how many cards have you finished so far, in fact? Out of
The
1,000.
conception of the game on PowerPoint, it's about 90% of the cards.
Okay, so you've got, you know what 90% of the
Yes.
cards is,
Yes.
but how many of the 90% of the have you drawn? Combien sont les...
A third, à peu près 300.
Ouais, là 300, on est
Yeah.
autour
So
de
you-
300.
A third.
Right, so out of
A
1,000
third.
cards,
But-
only 300 are drawn.
Yes, but there won't be 1,000 cards drawn in the game.
Enfin, des dessins différents.
Oh,
yeah,
with-
sure.
with-
Yes,
yes,
yeah.
because lots of cards we have the same drawing. Lots,
course.
not lots, because it's not like.
No, but you have things like the action cards,
Yes.
which are just a question of modifying some text and
Yes,
things.
you change a star into something
Exactly.
else.
Ou des
so-
événements
or
aléatoires où il y a
events.
beaucoup de texte.
Yes.
Yeah, or the, yeah,
Some random events
Yeah.
don't have illustration because there's too much text on it.
of course. No, for sure,
So
for sure.
it's 1/3 of all the cards, but I think it's more than 60% of 65% of
The illustration
the
complète.
required illustration.
50%.
50?
Yeah,
Ouais,
so
50%.
you're about
Oh,
halfway
because
through.
I didn't count stretch goal as well, so
Ah, yeah, true, fair enough then.
we
Well,
have to take care
Well,
take
yeah.
this into account.
always. So you're about halfway through actual production. Well, I say graphical production of the game.
Yeah.
So that's still a long way to go.
And we
So that's good to point
because
out.
because we are the guys behind the
Yeah, you do
behind the
everything
game.
yourself,
Yeah,
like
we
you
do.
said.
So
you don't wanna-
it has a.
You can't outsource it, can you? You
We
can't.
could, but that's not the spirit. So.
No, you want to. Well, this is your baby, isn't it?
Yeah,
You wanna,
absolutely.
Well, he's been working
You
on
don't
this for
share
30
your
years,
baby
so-
with nobody.
Yeah, exactly. You never
Neither
share
would
your
I.
baby with someone.
Neither with us.
Oh, for sure. Well, I personally am really excited. I mean, I'm on this project, as people watching this video probably know already. And I remember the first time we went. Where did we? Was it like an Indian restaurant? Was it? We met at an Indian
Yeah.
restaurant, I think, and they showed me this
In
game.
France, not in England.
France, no,
Not
in
in
Paris.
London.
In Paris.
Paris.
And I remember you guys showing it to me, and I spent my youth reading these. I love them, absolutely love them. And mine, I feel for you there because my character sheets, they were half ripped because they're not the best paper in the world, and when I got mine, they were normally second hand, so the paper ages a little bit, and if you use the rubber just a little bit too hard,
Bollocks.
Yes, I said that quite frequently. Mum didn't like that, but when you showed this to me, it was like it's Christmas come early. I mean, it's such a fun game. It's never been done before. the scope of this game? I mean, I remember
the few games have used the principle of the number, such as Sherlock Holmes, I think.
Yes.
Détective Conseil and Arabian Nights, of course.
Night, yes.
But
not to this scale.
And not the same way, because it was chapters, and it was not necessarily cards in which you actually create a gigantic map.
No, of course.
Because our purpose is not only to make just a board game, it's to make the
biggest board game. Yeah, man.
You know, that's what Kickstarter is all about. So
Il faut qu'on achète des enveloppes.
Yeah, we need to buy more envelopes, obviously. No, but how big did you rather say the game was? Was it 2 meters squared?
Almost, yes.
That's a big board game.
Yeah,
I mean,
big table too, but hopefully it doesn't quite work that way, because for instance, when you are in a temple, the temple area is not the same zone.
For sure.
So you discard the board, then you don't have all the cards at once.
No, of course.
On the trick,
but when you're playing a video game, you don't have the entire, you don't see the entire map at once, but the map can be really big.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we said. If we laid out all of the actual terrain cards end to end, well, next to one another, it would be about 2 meters squared. So that's a lot of terrain. And a lot of possibilities with the random events and all the different, because not every terrain card is the same in the sense that you can draw different cards, different events. I mean,
the last two games we demoed where it was funny because it was a completely different adventure, and also filling around the table. So it's just the way it happens. You can have 2 tables being with demos at the same time. Player ends the game, and then they talk to each other, and they're like, "No, you are not in the same zone as I was, almost." So that's the purpose we were trying to do.
But that's good. There's a lot of replayability. People see it and go, "Well, if I know the way to go, it's easy." But it isn't, unless you can see through cards, it really isn't. But that's the idea. So, gentlemen, anything more to say?
No,
let's
meet.
Non, j'ai compris. Non.
Let's meet in September if you like the idea, and there will be, of course, because it's also a main component of Kickstarter. We are currently working on exclusive content.
Oh yes, lots of goodies to reveal.
Try not to miss the campaign, because otherwise
it'll be very good. Excellent. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for watching. We shall see you next time. Take care. Happy playing.